Today's episode is sponsored by Raul Rodriguez Law.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Leija Lounge. And today we got a very special guest with us. Very excited to be joined by the CEO of San Antonio Sports. Some big things happening on the horizon, Jenny Carnes.
Jenny Carnes.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
For sure.
What
We
a
got a lot
group.
to talk about today. Lot to
Very esteemed group.
Very esteemed group. Yes.
First off, the first thing I wanted to talk to you about was the men's Final Four that y'all brought this year. You know, I know we got a lot of things to cover. That's the first thing that just popped in my brain is the men's Final Four. How did that go? And you know what, like what Mark was saying, what are some of the procedural things that bring such an event to San Antonio like that? What are some of the hurdles?
Well, thank you for starting on my favorite topic.
Yeah.
And Mark knows that. It's my favorite event that I ever get to work on. This is our fifth NCAA men's Final Four. And I'll answer the second part of that question first because we'll do it chronologically. But we started working on that event in the summer of 2017 with fundraising for a bid effort. We knew we needed some extra dollars to convince the NCAA to come to San Antonio. And what I mean by that is San Antonio, while it's the best host city destination in the country for a men's Final Four, our facility at the Alamo Dome lacks in seats and suites compared to the other NFL stadiums around the country that host Final Fours. And so to make up that delta of revenue loss for the NCAA, we had to start fundraising early, then went through the bid process all throughout 2018 while we were hosting the last men's Final Four. So we were bidding and hosting at the same time. And I remember telling our team, guys, as we go into this year and executing the Final Four, this event is truly our bid. You know, we can fill out the packet and go through the process and procedures of site visits and final presentation to the NCAA Men's Basketball Committee. We can raise $1 million as an incentive. But what happens this week is truly our bid. And so it started way back then. And then after we were awarded during the summer of 2018 for 2025, we just took off. So it truly was a 7-8 year process of planning, making sure the city was ready. Our security plan was in place. The Alamo Dome was ready. They had projects to complete as a part of that big commitment. Obviously, there's a lot happening in the city right now, especially downtown in terms of development. So working around construction and street closures, that was a big part of our preparation. And then just getting our city excited again about hosting a Final Four all those years later and how everyone can be involved in something like that on that scale, even without a game ticket.
Yeah.
So it really was a labor of love for 8 years. And if you were around during that weekend, we had magical weather. I mean, we had
beautiful.
blue skies, sunshine
Chamber of
in
Commerce
the
weather.
70s in April. That's just insane here in San Antonio. We had only for the second time ever 4 number 1 seeds that made it to the Final Four, just incredible teams. And then I've gone to the Final Four 20 plus times in other cities, and I've seen some amazing games. Last second buzzer beaters, but to see 3 in one weekend, it's just we could not have drawn up a better weekend for the city.
I was praying for Houston to kind of pull it
I
off
know,
there.
I
I think everyone
That
was.
would have been massive.
Yeah.
But Jenny, I just want to interject here real quick because you mentioned on something, the Alamo Dome, which is obviously near and dear to me.
Right.
And the years you and I kind of worked together when I was GM at the Dome. But one of the things, I remember going to a few Final Fours. That's one of the neat things when we go out there because we see what other cities are doing. But to a person from the 8 athletic directors, media people, and anytime they say, where are you from? San Antonio. Oh, man, we love San Antonio. And that's what, when we'll dive in here talking about Project Marvel, but what people take for granted here in San Antonio, but what needs to be said and reminded is the close proximity of everything like San Antonio. You have your venue that's within walking distance of, I don't know how many hotel rooms
14,000 plus hotel rooms.
plus entertainment, restaurants galore, and people walk. When I went to the Houston Final Four, we were downtown. Yeah, it was nice, fun. But then you had to get on a bus
Or get on the transit train.
and do a 45-minute drive to NRG Stadium.
Which is really only 7 miles from downtown.
And it's
but
great,
still
but you're in
an
freaking
hour.
traffic.
Yeah.
And then about an hour to get back because of all the traffic.
Sounds
right?
like the buzz is gone after that.
It
The
is.
buzz is gone.
And all, it's not just Houston, but most of the host cities, you think about Dallas or Phoenix, Houston, Indy, I'd put in our category. They have a great footprint.
And New Orleans.
And New Orleans, Atlanta kind of falls in the middle, but just so many other cities. And every time I go to one of those cities, I decide to not go to the game, like on championship night or on the semifinal night. I will leave early to beat traffic and watch the end in my hotel room.
Yeah.
It's just that much of a pain. And that's the greatest selling point for San Antonio is our footprint downtown and the beautiful city and the culture that we have and our welcoming volunteers and, hopefully the weather's typically good and that you can be having a margarita on the Riverwalk 30 minutes before tip-off and walk over. You can't beat that experience.
But I think that, athletic directors, media, they all know and recognize it, right? San Antonio, New Orleans, Indianapolis, if they could rotate all three, maybe Atlanta, throw it in there, right? Be a great spot. But it seems that NCAA has gotten to the point where this is all about money.
It's revenue driven and that's no secret. And the NCAA says that, especially with the way that college athletics and the landscape is today with NIL and lawsuits and things like that. The NCAA knows they've got to drive revenue, and that's increasing ticket sales, prices of sales, number of suites to sell, hospitality packages, things like that. That's where we have a harder time competing in that space, being a smaller market with a non-NFL stadium.
So how do we compete in the future?
I think we keep selling what makes everyone want to come to. Yeah, we always talk about, San Antonio is the best city to host, and it's 4 days of an experience. You're only in the facility watching basketball for about 8 hours. So enjoy the rest of the weekend more in a city like ours. And yeah, we don't have the most perfect facility. We all know that, but it's also very functional. It's a clean building without an NFL stadium and all their branding and major sponsors. So we like to sell that part of the facility, even knowing our challenges, but just selling the city itself and also selling a very strong sports commission and host committee that has done it over and over and over. We have the experience and the consistency, and you've got several people on our staff that have worked on every single Final Four over the last almost 30 years here.
Not only that, San Antonio loves basketball. They're just
basketball town.
That's what we do, right? It's just, that was the question I was going to ask. What makes San Antonio such a draw? But y'all answered it. That's what it is. It's just the proximity downtown. But we know basketball. That's just what it is. Like we know winning.
But it was reminding me of what you say of our gym, is that the workout will bring you, but the community will keep you.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
and so that's one thing about San Antonio is that we're gonna go see games, but just the way the community is surrounding it and just embracing everything, the way the city is downtown, everybody wants to party. That keeps you.
And a Final Four sometimes gets lost in other big cities and other markets, and it doesn't here.
No, you felt it. When you're driving, just pulling up 3 miles from the Alamo Dome, you see, Auburn people. You see the red from Houston. Like you're driving, like, what's that big orange blob? It's just a bunch of people. Like you see the bars, they're thriving. And for San Antonians like us, we love seeing bars just filled out. Restaurants and local businesses. It's beautiful to see.
And that reminds us back in the mid-90s, when we would have fights in San Antonio or at the Alamo Dome or at the Coliseum. Everybody would just go downtown. Everybody would hang out downtown till 1 or 2 in the morning. Hard Rock Cafe and all these, just hanging out, just partying. But now,
I think
things happen, they leave.
That's the great segue into why Project Marvel is so important for San Antonio right now. We've got to get that energy back into downtown on a regular basis. And
it needs to happen.
It has to happen.
It has to happen.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's been a while in the making, and the conversations, and a lot of meetings, and a lot of behind the scenes meetings and council meetings. But I think we're close.
Let's get into it, right? Because I mean, this is a thing where it is, for me, for you, maybe most of us here, it may not be a controversial thing. It's an easy decision to make, and we'll try to make that case here. But to some other people, as James mentioned, they say, hey, we gave the Spurs their brand new shiny building on the east side of town, and it is still a beautiful arena, very capable of hosting an NBA team. Why do we need something else? So let's kind of dive into that a little bit, and here's your opportunity to kind of do your elevator pitch.
Well, location, first and foremost. And reminding everybody, I know the hot topic right now is around the Spurs Arena, but Project Marvel is a much bigger project, and it's about downtown development. If you bring the Spurs back downtown, sandwiched in between a world-class dome facility and a civic park that soon will complete its third phase at Hemisphere Park, and a beautiful convention center, and all the downtown hotels we've already talked about, and the restaurants and the bars and the Riverwalk, that's where it needs to be. That's where it should have gone years ago. And we know the history behind that. But again, it's not just about the arena. It's about keeping the Alamo Dome refreshed and relevant for major events and local events. And then you think about expanding the convention center. We're a convention city. We know we need the extra space to stay competitive. We know we need another convention center hotel. And one of my favorite parts of the whole plan, proposed plan, is the John L. Woods courthouse that will create, I think about y'all's world in boxing. You think about a 4,000 to 5,000 seat arena right in the middle of that, and all the events that would just be much more suited in something of that size versus curtaining off at the Dome or even the Frost Bank Center. The Illusion Theater, or even the Frost Bank Center sometimes is too big for maybe a tennis event or a boxing event. But I just love the size of that, and I hope every piece of the project hits the finish line.
I hope so too. I mean, and it's a good point to make, because a lot of people are just saying Project Marvel, aka the Spurs' new arena, and it's not. It's more than that. It's
the San Antonio arena. That's what I see. It's San Antonio's going to benefit from it,
without a doubt.
Everyone is.
It's a big economic generator for our community. It was. I mean, for the longest time we were Military City, USA. Most part we are, right? But a lot of those jobs have kind of left. We've, over the last 30 years, probably moved more into a tourism driven economy here in San Antonio. I mean, prior to COVID, man, we were having some of the biggest conferences here during my time at the Dome. And Jenny remembers this. I mean, we held the biggest conference, one of the gyms that everybody tries to go after, and that's the Alcoholics Anonymous conference. That's 50,000 plus delegates, and then they bring their family. So I think that one week there were like 200,000 new people in our area. They couldn't fill all the hotel rooms. They had to go out a little bit. But just think about that for a little bit, right? How much money that brings in. COVID comes, slows everything down. I mean, really the only ones that have kind of bounced right back and done really well are the Orlandos of the world, Las Vegas. But San Antonio, we're rebounding really, really well. And I think something like this, with that energy down there. So my point is, the convention center needs the square footage, because you can bring big conferences in here. And the more people you bring in, it's a ripple down effect. They're spending money out in hotels, and they're going down a Riverwalk, and everyone kind of benefits from it. More people get hired,
It's trickle down, but I also think it trickles up. And we've been talking a lot about that, because you all of a sudden create that downtown energy again that comes alive, and I think it opens eyes to corporations that maybe had passed over San Antonio before. Hey, look at this downtown. Maybe we should move headquarters here. So I think it's a much larger impact.
I mean, there's so many musical artists that are skipping over San Antonio just for different reasons. You know what I mean? But
so why go to San Antonio if Austin's right there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna hit the Dallas, the Houston, Austin, and all that. But there's just like so many things that can be hit with that project. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's one thing to your point, James, is that this community needs that mid-sized facility.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever can strike that first,
I didn't even
the guy
know
hits
about
some
that.
goals.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's a perfect size. And you look at a lot of new arenas and that AEG of the world and Live Nation, they're all that 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000 seat capacity facilities they're building. Seems to be a sweet spot.
It's a sweet spot. Yeah.
So
Prime boxing arena is what I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
that was
I mean,
my first thought.
yeah.
Yeah.
it would be intimate, and it's great. It is downtown with all of these things going on. So it brings back that excitement that you were talking about, James, earlier. You know, where the big fights would happen in downtown San Antonio. I mean, it's been a while since we had one.
Remember that? Every Spurs game, we
Yeah.
just walk across to Hard Rock Cafe.
Or Champions, when it was happening.
We just walk down there and hang out there till.
And you felt like you were still a part of it. You felt like you were still part of the celebration whenever, right? It was just you're in downtown.
So here's just to throw his name out, but so we would go to Champions at a time after a Spurs game. And we'd go before sometimes, then walk over, and then after the game come back. Charles Barkley was always with us, hanging out.
Yeah, right.
Just because he liked being there. He just said, "Oh, this is a cool bar." So he's hanging out at Champions.
he would eat Cheetos too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
And then make
But
fun
just
of our gals.
but that's what it is. Those guys, I mean, basketball players, stuff, just coming out and hanging out in the city because everyone's there.
Yeah,
It was just fun.
Those were fun times,
Yep.
and I hope we can get that back. I mean, listen, I'm glad the Spurs are here. I'm glad they're playing in a world-class facility like the Frostbank
We
Center.
got world-class players. It's like the stars are aligning for our team right now, right? So when are you going to invest in the team? When are you going to invest in a new arena? Like when you don't have these guys, or when you have the brightest stars right now?
And let's be clear too, right? They're not asking, from what I've seen so far, at least the county's portion of it it's just an extension of that quarter-cent sales tax they want to add to the visitor fund, or the visitor tax. What does that mean, visitor tax? That's people come in from out of town. They're staying at hotels or rental cars. That tax just increases slightly. So it's not really the citizens kind of forking that over. I'm not sure if they've had any discussions if the city's going to have to, the citizens are going to have to put some money
that
in.
likely will go to a public vote.
Yeah, so that public will decide.
November. The city's contribution comes from a project financing zone through the state of Texas that was passed during the 2023 legislation. And so it really is only designated for a project like this, and use it or lose it. So no public tax dollars will be going toward the new arena. And then I think what the Spurs have committed to investing in this project is huge. I think
massive.
that's maybe the biggest controversy right now is why are the Spurs not putting up 100% of the funding? But I look at the cash dollars, the investment into future development, and the cash that will come from that investment, and then the risk that they take on with the construction, operating the building, any overruns. I think it's a very, very fair deal.
Yeah, it's extremely fair. I think it's a win-win-win all the way around. I mean, I can see the argument, there are some sports franchises, maybe in other sports, where their ownership group is picking up the big ticket on the construction of a new facility. But those are apples and oranges.
Yeah, different markets.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is one where, it seems like you said it, the stars are aligned just right with the star power the Spurs now have, and the fact that the funding is there gives, the legislature gave communities like us that opportunity to kind of tap into that particular revenue source. And then, visitors, I see just as a win-win-win all the way around.
And not only that, we had talked about on a previous podcast, we had some of the hottest championships in basketball, right? During that Spurs run, and we didn't have those celebrations. We were in the East Side. You know what I mean? And
well, now I'm gonna counter that, because I heard a great line yesterday by Trish DeBerry, who runs Centro of downtown, and she said, when the Spurs win the championship, where does the public go honking? They don't go honking at the AT&T Center, which it was at the time, now Frostbank Center.
Commute.
They go downtown.
Right.
And that's not even where the game, the championship
It's just like,
game
where do
is
we?
played.
I think we talked about that with Sean Elliott. We're like, what do we do now? Let's just go where we know everyone's going to be, and that's downtown. That's on the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
That's what we did. We went honking downtown.
Yeah, we know everyone.
We came out. We came out of the then. It was the first time it was SBC Center, second time AT&T Center. And so we drove down the east side, honking our horns. I remember that one series. I misremember right now.
What year?
You got him.
Well, that's what I say. I misrember the series.
Spurs the story.
What year?
But what year
we can
was
tell
it?
you which series.
I don't know. My
Was
mind's
it
gone
03,
We only got 5 years.
05,
But
07?
it was the one that we swept. Or
07.
07.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That just was my lead into you, buddy, because you're all about Spurs. But I remember people on the east side, man. Everybody had their brooms out. And I'll never forget that image.
Yeah.
We were driving down Houston Street, and I remember just people coming out of their house on Houston Street with their brooms.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing, man.
I was at that game.
I was too.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to get to go to several of the final games, and we knew we wanted to go honking downtown too, but we knew it was going to take us a couple hours to get out of the parking lot. So we had gone prepared. We had cigars in the car.
Nice.
We had a
That's
cooler
awesome.
pack
Oh,
because we
man.
were
That's
how you
moving.
do
Feet are up,
Yeah.
cars off.
It's just
Banners out, both sides.
One thing I was gonna say was, if this doesn't happen for the Spurs, well, maybe it can happen for our NFL team. Maybe it can happen for our Major League team.
Our NFL team.
We don't have anything else. Let's support
Exactly.
the Spurs.
Yeah.
They're putting it here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's
that's right.
support
That's
them
right.
100% because we don't have anything else.
Yeah.
And the one last argument I want to make on this point I want to make on this is people say, well, what about this arena on the east side of town? That's going to be a waste. No, it's not. I think this is win-win-win for everyone because I actually think the county and the Coliseum Advisory Board are going to make more money with the Spurs being gone than they are currently right now.
And the rodeo.
And the
too.
rodeo. People
It
say,
gives
well,
the
how's that
rodeo
possible? Well, guess
such a
what?
Great opportunity to host more events.
More
create
events. They could do
scholarships for
smaller
kids,
events in there, so long as they're not prevented from competing for events with the new facility. Because I'm not in favor of that, but so long as best venue, best date wins the business, and that's the way it ought to be. And so let the county-owned building, take on. I think they're going to do really, really well. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to see that. They're going to see that as a big win. It's not going to go away.
And I think moving some of the community events out of the Alamo Dome over there.
Yeah.
It will help the dome. It'll
Yes.
help us be able to attract bigger events because what a lot of people don't know in San Antonio is we have the busiest dome facility in the country.
Talk about that because people say it's always empty.
It's never empty.
Right.
I mean, I can't get a date to bid on things. You think about 35 plus graduations throughout May and June. All of the expos they do, like the Home and Garden, Monster Jam, a full UTSA home football schedule. They are busy all the time. And if you add in load in and load out days, it's
sucks
like
up a lot.
300 plus days out of the year.
And that's what people
or
don't
more.
realize about the dome is that it's not you just can't come in and transition it this way. Home and Garden takes almost a week to load in, right? And it's about a day to get out. Then you have those events there, but times all these other events that are coming in there. I mean, it's a busy time period,
And to be able to move some of those around, I think that it lends, a true county facility to be that more of a civic center, I guess.
We kind of started this segment a little bit talking about Final Four. You just got through with it, and I know James mentioned it, and I cut you guys off because I kind of dove into this a little bit, but this one got done. All accounts, Chamber of Commerce weather, greatest competition of Final Fours I've seen in a good while. You're in the driver's seat, man. You're orchestrating all of this. You and your team did an amazing job, fabulous job. So I want to hear your perspective on it and the great stuff, but I'm kind of curious to find out from you, where are some areas of improvements that you'd like to see going forward?
Well, thank you for those comments. I was very proud of our team, our host committee, our 2 host institutions that included Incarnate Word this year, my alma mater. All of our key volunteers, thousands of volunteers, just could not have gone better. there are always areas of improvement. We struggled around the downtown construction. We knew that was going to be a challenge, and it was in many cases. Not having, again, back to a non-NFL stadium, one of the areas that hurts us is because we don't have, I mean, I'd say we don't really have a tenant. We do in UTSA football, but that's only a handful of games a year. So where the building lacks, and you know this, Mark, is in full-time service people that work in the building instead of just working a handful of temp jobs a year. So they don't know the building as well when they're coming in for a Final Four. They don't have that level of customer service that you might be accustomed to if you're a Cowboys season ticket holder and you're going to AT&T Stadium in Dallas, right? So that's always an area for us that can be improved. I mean, those would be the two things really that I'd say we got.
And construction at some point in time, chalk that off because we're going to be there.
Yeah.
Even we have Project Marvel, still isolated, but the infrastructure is going to kind of be there for it, right?
Yeah. And our next chance to host, I mean, we really will and should be there, as you say it.
Yeah.
It could be 2035, 2036 before we host again. And, you know, hopefully Project Marvel comes to fruition and almost everything's done by then.
And to your point, you know, the labor issues, not just for San Antonio, but they're everywhere in the event world. You know, I've got a couple of clients I work with and consult with, some facilities, and we struggle with that all the time. It's just, you know, it's hard. And people that own restaurants or their own businesses, I mean, look how challenging it is.
Is it just a lot of turnover or what?
Not enough hours. That's the problem. To keep consistency, keep hiring people, to what Jenny was saying, I mean, you know, people have a choice. Like, I'll go work at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A part-time first because it's going to be consistent versus, you know, working over in an event at the Dome. It's a cool, fun event, but it's a lot. Once they start getting into it, they look at, it's a lot of work, and I only work how many hours, and no, I'm not interested. I will stick with this other job over here.
And it's not easy. The way we have to set up the security perimeter around the Dome for a Final Four, you don't just walk through the front doors. Yeah. You get wanded, I mean,
almost a block out.
In some cases on the other side of the freeway. And so because of that, there's no parking downtown for the service industry that has a job at the Dome or the convention center. So they're parking somewhere way off site. They're having to get there super early, go through processing, get uniformed, get on a bus, sit in traffic, and then to make it worth their time, you know, work like a 12-hour shift. And it's not easy. So you see why that's just not very
And
attractive.
It's turnover because you figure a lot of people would say, hey, I'll do it the first day. And then all of a sudden, they don't come back. Yeah, they ain't come back. So what do you do?
Yeah, and they're signed up to work on the next game day, and then all of a sudden you've got lines down the concourse because we're short concession folks.
Yeah, and it's something that I hope that I know it's not an easy fix. It's really not an easy fix. And to your point, the other stadiums do it because if it's, you know, at an NFL stadium, they're getting a bunch of hours. You know, it's kind of the same crew that you see a lot.
It's worth it.
Yes. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
So like Mark was saying, you're in the driver's seat, right? And I've heard some things about potentially a women's volleyball tournament coming this next year.
Yeah.
It is for sure.
Yeah, on the book. So we have 3 more NCAA championships already landed, starting with women's volleyball, which will be mid-December of 2026. We'll host that in the Alamo Dome.
Wow. You can sign me up. You can sign me up for that one.
I don't know if y'all follow volleyball, but it is growing on the same trajectory as women's basketball. Wow. And just this past year in Louisville, they broke an attendance record at 23,000 plus or 24,000. So our goal is to hit 25
we had them during my
30.
time there.
We did, but I would say 2011 was the last year we hosted, and since
UCLA.
then the sport has just taken off in popularity, and the way that the women are playing is just, if you've ever seen it live, it is
my God,
so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
So we're going to go big and try to hit that 25 to 30,000 mark.
Wow.
Hopefully we get UT in. They have a very strong program. And then the following year we have men's basketball regional returning, and that will be at Frost Bank Center. And then 2029 women's Final Four basketball.
Wow. Nice. Women's
That's a lot.
basketball we're going to talk about for
Yes,
sure.
yeah,
But
that's the
before we
closing
before we get there, still this year coming up, we have the very first San Antonio Marathon.
Yes.
How did that? How, you know, whose brainchild is that? Why did that start? How did that whole thing start?
I don't know who initially would get the credit for that, but it's something that San Antonio Sports has been talking about for, I would say, over a decade. We've been a partner with the Rock and Roll Running Series since day one in San Antonio. They moved into our market in 2008, which we were very, very excited about. Our city manager at the time, Cheryl Scully, came to my former CEO and said, we got to change this fat city perception, and our marathon is not at the level of the seventh largest city. And she wanted us to go out to bid and see what we could find. And Rock and Roll was just like coming out in the market. It was so popular. So we had a good 16-year run with Rock and Roll. This last December was their last year. But I would say over the last 10 years of just working with them, helping them execute that event every December, we've always thought, well, why can't we do this ourselves? Why can't we own a marathon where the profits stay here locally? It's not a for-profit coming in 4 days out. They leave the afternoon of on Sunday of the weekend, and then we don't hear from them again for a long, long time. And so when we knew we were coming to the end of the contract with Rock and Roll, and the city approached us and said, you know, are y'all ready for this? And we said, bring it on.
Wow, that's
And said goodbye and thank you to Rock and Roll last December. It was a good run. It was a game changer for San Antonio. In
Well,
the
they
space
elevated
of
it
fitness.
for sure,
my
without a
gosh.
doubt. You're right.
The old San Antonio Marathon would draw about 1,000 runners a year. And I believe the first Rock and Roll in San Antonio still holds the all-time inaugural marathon attendance or participation record at 32,000. And they had a strong last year. We were at
What
about.
year was that? The first one?
That was 2008.
Okay.
Is that the one that Lisa and I ran?
Yeah, sounds right.
We
And
ran
then,
one.
and you and I did one,
we
right?
did a relay. Yeah.
What year
I
was
think you
that?
woke him
forgot
up
what
the
you
day
were
before.
I woke up.
The night
You asked me
before
that
the
night,
race.
the day before. You asked
Do you
me,
want to
I
do
believe.
this?
Yeah, and I was like, sure. You know.
So we're
hard could it
excited
be?
to change it up and truly make it a destination marathon about San Antonio, sell the city. And so Rock and Roll was fun for a while. You've got music along the course, but this is going to be San Antonio's culture along the course. So we're going to
But it's got to have
brand.
music then.
We're going to have music,
yeah.
but we're going to brand.
I think
different-
tacos on every mile because you said
We're,
fitness.
we're
right?
going to
Yeah.
have tacos. We might even have a what a mile.
Wow.
We'll have a Spurs mile, a Missions mile, Mariachi mile, a Military City USA area, culinary. We want to introduce our visitors to what makes San Antonio great.
And I'm not sure. I know they changed the course a few times, right? Rock and Roll did. And I'm not sure if they're running by the San Jose Missions anymore, but that's legendary. You run through the San Jose Missions.
Yes and no.
I know
We always
well,
want
people don't want to because it's uphill.
Well,
at the
but
end.
it was on the tail end of the marathon,
Yeah.
and so you got down to the missions, and I know what you're talking about because I've done it a couple of times here, and it was just like you were running on an island. There was nobody down there. It was very nice to run by our San Antonio missions, but there was no energy.
Well, that's why we changed that. We put a Southside presence out there, and
Well, we've
make a
changed
party
the,
out of it.
the
Well, you know what?
course dramatically.
A good
for
marathon,
this
though. A
year.
good marathon takes, like the isolation. You gotta get the isolation aspect of
Yeah.
like, all right, it's just me now.
Yeah.
And then boom, then you hit the crowd. But yeah, you're getting a little.
So
out
what's
the
the course here?
So we will, of course, start and finish in the heart of downtown. I know we're still dealing with a little construction along Alamo Street, but the idea is, especially going forward when that project is complete, is that Hemisphere Civic Park will be the festival at the end. And so we'll start downtown. We'll go south first. We'll go into the King William District, which is one of our most beautiful neighborhoods.
Beautiful.
And then we'll come back up north. We are going to go through the base again, which I thought was a good addition over the last couple of years. Then we're going to go do something we haven't done. We're going to go into Monte Vista and Almost Park and Alamo Heights. And I know it's going to add some hills for those folks that are training.
It's a tough
But
one.
it's just going to be a beautiful course. And then it splits off, obviously, at half and full, but coming back down Broadway, and we will go by the Alamo. So we'll get our mission
that
in
sounds beautiful.
and then finish downtown and have a big festival at the park.
That's awesome.
It's
I like
tough-
those
it's a
new
tough race.
neighborhoods.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful.
Because those are the neighborhoods I think, well, not than anybody else, but it just makes sense they're within this course. They'll come out to support it.
But
You know?
that was the first part of my vision around this is we wanted to create an event like the New York, like the
Yeah.
Boston, like Chicago, where if you never run a step in your life and you know you're never going to, you can still feel a part of it. And it is a neighborhood party. You know, we've encouraged, as I've gone through these different municipalities to get approval to run the course through Elm Heights and these other smaller neighborhoods, Terrell Hills. We've said that, like, y'all make it a Sunday morning brunch. Invite your neighbors over. You know, feel a part of this.
beautiful.
Feel pride in your neighborhood. You know, sell your neighborhood, and so that you're gonna feel a different energy on the course this year.
That's
Jason,
exciting.
you're in, right?
Sign me up.
All right, we got it. We got it.
And the best part is it will benefit San Antonio sports as the nonprofit.
And
And
this is the
stays
first
here.
one coming up this
first one, inaugural year.
Is there a title
December.
sponsor for it?
Not a title this year. We anticipate that next year,
Yeah,
but
nice.
our sponsorships are coming along.
So what's it called? What's it called? Just
San Antonio Marathon. As
Nice.
in the brand, in our logo,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
SATX.
Yeah.
Marathon.
Okay.
We got
I like that.
my
Nice.
recommendation is do those like 1970s, 80s, you know, those cool hats. Just
Yeah.
a San Antonio Marathon. That's it.
But you know, that's
Good
one thing.
merch,
That's one
good
thing I'm going to
merchandise.
say about Jenny and her team. They come up with some of the coolest swag. Like I still have bags from
we
my
do love some
my
good
times.
swag.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys do like
good
it's literally
wristband.
some of the best
You got
swag.
wristband.
Yeah.
Headbands.
Little headband.
We're excited about our
little nostalgic
medals
feeling.
that
nice.
we've approved.
perfect.
So we'll be announcing those soon and finish your shirt.
How,
and
what are we anticipating attendees wise or,
Our-
or participants?
I would say our lofty goal in year one would be 18,000 runners. We'd feel really good about 15,000 in the first year. And we
How
know
many did
it'll
Rock and
grow.
Roll had last year?
They were about 17,000 between
so it
their
was there.
5K, 10K, half and full.
Yeah.
We're not doing
That's
a 10K in our inaugural year, just a half full and a Friday night 5K. Really excited to do the 5K
Okay.
down Houston Street with all the Christmas lights or holiday lights up,
Nice.
and partnering with the city of San Antonio to take over their holidays on Houston 5K and to be able to do that at night. I think it's going to be pretty
Wow,
cool.
that's
I'm,
perfect.
I'm jealous, man. I wish I could do it. I wish I could
Go
do
walk
it.
it.
I just maybe so.
My running days are over.
Mine
and
are too.
I walk the half every
Yeah,
year.
mine are too. I can't do it anymore. So
I can push you. I'll push you in the car.
We can
well, we
all
could do maybe
walk.
the
Come
scooter
on.
thon.
And what I've been doing,
Come on,
just
Dean, push faster,
to
damn
make
it.
it really fun, is I get a group of friends and we
Yeah.
walk together. We take
Yeah.
our time. We talk to all the volunteers. We might
Nice.
stop for a beverage along
Right,
the route.
Good
A little
Gatorade.
tequila along the
Everybody
way.
can walk.
Gatorade.
Everybody can
Yeah.
walk.
Tequila
Yeah.
Strong
shot.
Gatorade.
When you're in an auto accident, you shouldn't be concerned with legal runarounds, just real advice. You deserve an attorney ready to work for you, an attorney that won't back down.
I've lost loved ones due to the negligence of others. If you or a loved one has been injured in an auto accident, I want to be there for you.
Raul B. Rodriguez and his team care about ensuring you and your family are represented, whether on the road or in the workplace. Raul is real, and Raul won't back down. Call 210-899-0300 to schedule a free consultation.
So real quick, before we get out of here, I definitely want to talk to you about women's basketball. It's very
Yes,
hot.
yes.
This is a
I'm gonna sit
personal.
up. I'm-
This is a
my
very
favorite
personal
topic.
thing
Yes.
to you. Actually, we had just finished training your alma mater, the UIW men's basketball team. We trained them 3 weeks. We had them for like 3 weeks.
Once a week for the
Oh,
past
that's
3
awesome.
weeks.
We
and
just finished.
I trained Coach Shane, so he's become a really good close friend of mine already. And he's like, man, you know what? This is pretty good. I think I need the players to come in. They loved it. They picked it up. They picked it up right away. So
For sure.
Should get the women's team out there.
yeah,
I would love it.
yeah.
We would love that.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
we would
Yeah.
love that. We got the
But-
men's, you know.
But, we do the Spurs on Carnival Ward. We've done Arley the Lake before, right? A few times. And it'd be great to have the
It's a great
women's team.
bonding workout.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
really what it is.
you
You
know.
see, I mean, we had this coming week. They have a free week, so a lot of them are going home right now. But I think it's been 3 or 4 workouts already with them, and this last one we had on I think it was just past Thursday. The bond that you just see with them, like I mean, it was night and day from the first workout to the last workout. Like they're cheering each other on. They're like really motivating each other just from when they walk in. Before the first one, they're like, all right, what are we doing
Well,
here?
like me, the first day in the
Yeah.
gym, they didn't know
Yeah.
what to expect.
They don't know what to do.
Right.
You know what
And
to
then
expect.
like it just the moment they start parking their cars, everyone's already. You feel that
Yeah.
energy show up. So it was good.
Yeah. Well, I'll
It's a good
work on
feeling.
getting our women's team
Definitely,
there.
that'd be great. But the WNBA, the game, right? Just in general, like you played it. You got a ride to UIW to play. Is this the early 2000s we're talking about when you were playing?
Mid to late 90s.
Okay,
yeah.
mid to late 90s. So the game, right? How much change have you seen in women's basketball from now? I'm talking about skill, not the coverage, and not like
Sure.
I'm saying
Yeah.
like from when you were playing to now, like how has the game changed somewhat?
I'd say tremendously. It's changed in the level of talent and the level of skill. Now, when I was at Incarnate Word, we were only NAIA transitioning to NCAA Division II. Now we're D1. Right. So that's apples and oranges to even compare that team to the teams I played on. But if you just look at the D1 level across the country and the players that we've seen come out of college in recent years, it's just next level. And what the WNBA is doing right now and that talent. And you don't want to take anything away from the Cynthia Coopers and Cheryl Miller and some of those pioneer athletes that were incredible, and love to see, if you compared it in the same era, if how they would match up to a current Angel Reese or somebody like that. But I just think we are in a great position right now for women's basketball at any level. It's getting more competitive at the youth level, I'm seeing now that I have a daughter who's playing.
And that's the key.
Yeah.
That's where they're at, the youth level.
When I think
what's changed
now, right? And I think about how their training is so much different, so they should be better. I know y'all been training Ryan first year for a number of years, and one of the few kids to get a full ride to play at a big time.
USC.
USC. Yeah.
She's a beast.
And not when I was growing up, no one trained like that. We were just in the gym, up and down and shooting and nothing else.
Basics,
Running lines. That was it.
We were talking about that, last time, and it's. I think that's the point I was trying to make, is that the training I've seen so far with the younger ones, the youth, has gotten so much better, and I kind of likened it a little bit to women's soccer at the time, and why the U.S. was so dominant, so ahead in women's soccer, because they've been extremely competitive. Now, the rest of the world is kind of caught up to women's soccer, but that just means that we got to get better at it, right, at that youth level. But I think that's kind of where it starts, where it gets really competitive. So I'm curious to see what women's college basketball and those that make it to the WNBA, how that's going to look in 10 years from now, which I think will be more competitive.
Yeah, I just think it's so exciting across all female sports right now, but particularly in basketball. And I think it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of years at the collegiate level if they have a little bit of a dip before the next Caitlin Clark comes through. And there's some really, really good players in college right now, but I think she was just lightning in a bottle for NCAA women's basketball at the time, and moved the needle for both college and then, of course, the WNBA. And I know she hasn't even been playing as of recently because of an injury, but that the Caitlin Clark effect is just been unreal.
We talked about that in the part that she came in and just brought so much attention, so much money, so much advertising, air flights, everything too. And then they're dogging the other teams are trying to hurt her.
It's unbelievable.
And like, how does that happen? And why does it happen?
They should be celebrating her, praising her, thanking her for what it's done to the W.
Like someone said, she took y'all from motel, hotel to Four Seasons.
Yeah.
And to private charter flights.
Yes, exactly. Why do you hate her? How could you be like elbowing her and all that?
Is it a jealousy factor, or it's been a strange
and
couple of years watching her.
Maybe some of the Reese, right? Or they've been in the league and they see some young girl come in and taking over. And
they came in at the same time, though.
Yeah, Angel Reese came in at the same time. Okay, no, but you're not wrong. There's like some Kelsey veterans that have not treated her very well, and they're the ones that really should be thanking a Caitlin Clark, and even Angel Reese. She's been a big name. I don't think she's as strong as a player.
Exactly. It's almost like what I was saying in our last podcast. The best thing that happened to Angel Reese was Caitlin Clark.
Oh, for sure. I don't even know that anybody would know.
I just find it funny that you don't try to. And I said this. It's like a world champion comes to want to train at our gym, and we're trying to knock him out and hurt him. He's training at our gym. He's helping us out. He's helping us out. But we try to beat him up.
It makes no sense. Yeah.
Maybe that's competition. Maybe that's competitive nature. But I don't know. It's gonna make Caitlin Clark better. That's all I see.
Yes.
Or she's going to be injured all the time.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Yeah.
But it's been fun to watch. And I think about the beginning of the WNBA. I was in college, and my coach took us to one of the very first games in Houston, back when Houston had a team. The Rockets won the first 5 championships, I believe. It was so much fun to see that all those years ago.
Just
to see the growth of it.
Growth of it, right? It's crazy.
It makes me miss our team here.
Yeah.
I know.
So I was about to say that.
That Spurs let go of them. But you never know. New arena.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
if
a
the
great
league
point.
continues to grow and expand.
I hope so.
Maybe
I miss hockey. I miss going there and just kind of watching a little rant. I had
Banging on
no
the
idea what
glass.
was going on. But just going and watching, just, all
Banging on
right,
the
cool.
glass.
I like
I
it.
The
miss
last
those
image I
those
have of
Iguana
you
days,
going
though.
to a hockey
Oh.
game.
Yeah,
Big
more
ones.
so than
Like
the
this.
last time we
Yeah,
had. Like the old school at Freeman.
Yeah.
Right, the
Well, that was
Iguanas.
Mark was involved with the Iguanas.
Iguanas and the Dragons.
And the Dragons.
Yeah.
That's
I
cool merch.
just telling Dean, I remember the last image I have of Dean at a hockey game. James was always really good, a little bit older, but he had always a good time. But this was Dean at the hockey game.
Yeah.
That was the last year of the Rampage, right?
Yeah. He's just the
And one
noise
of
was
our
bothering.
good coaches, our good friends was John Torchetti
Who was
He's one
the
of the-
coach
of the
for
Iguanas and the Rampage.
The Blackhawks too. But
Yeah,
Oh, really?
he won a
Yeah.
Stanley Cup. Yeah, he's now on an NHL network, and he does some studio stuff for him there. And Torch was what we call him. He's just
Torch,
just a
yeah.
great
It's one of
guy
the few
from Baston
sports
area.
I don't watch or don't follow.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it's
Yeah.
it's.
I'll watch it in the Olympics though.
we like
Yeah.
a good aggressive sport.
Yeah. Of course y'all do.
a little elbow,
Yeah.
a little elbow grease.
I wanted to just touch a little bit because a lot of people don't know this. I mean, you are a product of South Texas, and it's Uvalde,
Valde.
right? The whole Carnes clan is from that area there. Just a great upbringing. It's a beautiful area, number one. I mean, just everyone who's driven Can Uvalde, they can attest how gorgeous it is and what a great community it was. But, tragically, a couple of years ago, we had this mass shooting event that took place there. And I know you had people that you knew, I mean, being this tight-knit community, were affected by it. But just if you want to just kind of talk a little bit about that and some of the, just your perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Uvalde was a great small town to grow up in, and I still call it home, even though I've now lived in San Antonio longer than I lived there, but most of my family still lives there. I love to go back and visit. Very proud to be from Uvalde. There are just no words to describe how that rocked our community, and a lot of my family was in education or continues to teach in San Antonio or in other areas, and just being really close to their experience was hard. And being from a small town, everybody had a connection. It was just unbelievable to watch it unfold and to be there as much as I was after the shooting and trying to help and support and put on fundraisers. And it can still be felt so deeply every time I go back home. I was just there for my 30th high school reunion a few weekends ago, and you still see the murals on the wall for on all the walls downtown for our 21 Angels, and it's something we'll never get over, never recover from. But I will share just in the spirit of the power of sport, one of the things, I don't have a lot of money, I can't write a big check, but right after I was thinking, how can I help and support? And had this idea through some partners that came to the table with us through San Antonio Sports, was to try to get the kids' minds off of being so scared to go back to school the next school year, because school was done after that. And that was May 24th, 3 years ago. And so we wanted to put a brand new bicycle in the hands of every kid that was going from Rob to the next school, and then the one grade that would be at that new school with the 2 grades coming from Rob. So essentially 800 kids. We passed out 800 brand new bicycles and helmets and bike locks, and we did this all out of my parents' cabbage produce shed, where we do all of our farming sales from. It was Lance Armstrong got involved and really helped make the funding happen to be able to buy 800. I mean, think about 800 bikes and putting them together and transporting them to Uvalde and staging them, and
Oh my
it was
gosh, that's
a
beautiful.
touching
Yeah.
day. And I remember we did that in August 3 years ago, and then school started a few weeks later. And seeing, because the national media was so really, had a presence, and they were still camped out there, and to see pictures of these kids riding these brand new bikes on the front page of USA Today, and hopefully we added some smiles.
I know
in
you
in a
did.
tough time.
There's no question about that.
But it was a tough thing, and just to be on the periphery. I mean, it's just so heartbreaking to even think.
Well,
about.
for all of us, even here in San Antonio, I mean, I happened to be having lunch with two of our good friends, Steve Zito and Michael Flores.
Mike Flores that day, yeah.
And with them that day. And we're looking at this, our phones are buzzing, and Michael's like, oh my God. It's just, and he's another Uvalde product as well.
All my Alamo Dome guys. Yeah.
I know it. Listen, a little over a year ago, I called you up. I said, hey, I want to pitch an idea to you. And we set up a meeting. We met at Starbucks. And we said, well, we have this fundraiser called the Red Carpet Brawl. And
you don't remember this correctly.
Okay.
Because at the inaugural,
at the first, I remember you came up.
I was there
yes,
supporting one of your first fighters, and
yes.
that's where you got me. You asked me that night.
Yes.
And then we got together at Starbucks. Yeah.
I remember it because you were excited. You were like, okay, I'll do it.
In the moment, I thought this looks like
fun. That was a few drinks in, maybe, right?
That was that big steak into the night.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then we met at Starbucks, and you were like, I'm in, you know. Obviously it's very near and dear to us. We're getting ready now to start to solidify our participants for Red Carpet Brawl 3 coming up January 31st of 26. And, we thought, hey, let's just talk to one of the participants, a competitor, and
Red Carpet alum.
An alum, and just talk.
Add that to my bio.
That's right. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And just talk about that whole experience and your training and just.
Well, one of the reasons why I said yes to it was because being at the first year, I recognized that this was truly a world-class event. It was really well done. The venue was perfect. The evening from an event producer, it was just a very well-run event from the food start to finish, the auction, the poker, everything. And that was an easy yes for me because I knew it was going to be a well-done event. Two, I have a big heart. I'm always a sucker for a charitable cause. And y'all's model is fantastic because it supports your foundation, James. And what y'all do and value so the importance of mental health and mental wellness, but then to give the participants an opportunity to fundraise for our own charity of choice. So that was an easy box for me as well. And then I'm always up to try something new. That's just my personality.
Man. Yeah.
And I going into the gym that first time I came to just check it out, and we met, and we were going through the schedule of classes and how I didn't even know what to do. And
but you also got busy during that time with training because I know you weren't coming in as much as you thought you would be able to.
No, I just between the age of my kids and my job, and then I got sick right before, and so I was not prepared.
And to be honest with you, to piggyback off what you just said right now, you were the surprise one out of all the participants and all the guys who had put on the fight the first year and the second year and all of our trainers. You surprised everybody because we were like, okay,
on how I should have been better.
No, on how good you were, because we're like, okay, she's not coming in that much. She's busy. I know we all know she's busy. Let's take care of her when she comes in here this day. And you were fighting. You know what I mean? Like it was different. I was like, okay, we know this girl in the gym, but then when you really turned it on in the ring, I felt like that, like where it was like we didn't know what to expect either.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect.
The competitive spirit, the athlete came out.
The competitor came out,
and I always knew that. I always told you that.
I still lost.
Well,
I think it was
everyone
that
wins
fall.
that
I slipped. My shoes were very
It's bouncy.
slippery.
It was bouncy.
And
it was a bouncy
slipped, and I know that's not how it's judged on points, right? But
right.
I think there's just kind of a perception that it looked like she hit me and knocked me down. But I have to tell one story about just the preparation and coming into the gym the week before, and I'd only sparred one time before that, And in the first year, the reason why I went was to support Councilwoman Dr. Soot Kaur, who boxed for you guys in the first year. And she's
Talk about another badass.
physically larger than I am, and I'm a big woman.
yeah,
and
spar
so
guy.
I talked her into coming to spar with me a week out just
I heard about
to
this.
get prepared, to just have a better idea of what it would really feel like.
Amongst friends, right?
Amongst friends. And that's what I thought. Like, she was going to give me some pointers and what her experience was. And y'all hit the timer and the bell goes off and she comes out of her corner and she hit me so hard, square in the eyes and the nose. And I mean, I hit the mat. You were there. You saw it.
Yeah.
And the guys are there. I was embarrassed to get hit in front of Tullis Wells and Mr. Dawson. But I mean, she hit me so hard. My nose started running. My eyes were
Did you see the
watering.
stars
I
and
was seeing
everything?
stars.
Wow.
It sucked. I thought we were just going to give me some pointers here. But I can't tell you how much that helped me, because I knew not to be so scared. And then we talked a lot about, you got to protect yourself. But I was so nervous the night of. I was so nervous.
I bet.
Yeah.
Because
And
that's
I'm
the thing
sure
about
all of us
that's the
were.
thing about boxing. People don't know is when we spar. Not that y'all are professional boxers or anything like that, but when we spar, we go 100% for that reason.
Yeah.
So that when you go into the fight, it's like, well, I've already been hit.
Yeah.
I've already been in a fight. You know what I mean? There's no surprises on the intensity of it.
Yeah.
A lot of other sports they'll go, for lack of a better word, half-assed. And then when you get that night, it's just totally different rev up on energy. But when she brought it to you, it was almost like a preparation of.
It was,
you're right.
yeah.
Like, it was like,
I'm so glad I did it. And
I think
Aaron
rather
got a
everyone-
few good ones in on me, but I knew.
Well, you got some good ones on her too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
It was-
God.
that was-
That
it
was
was
like
an even
potential fight of the
match.
night.
Yeah, for sure.
That,
It's
that
hard
one,
to
that
say.
one could have gone either way. I
sure.
felt that way, but I just, and I kept telling these guys, because we did talk about it. Say, hey, we hadn't seen Jenny. I said, well, she's training, but we all knew your schedule. We knew the schedule, and
I
now,
thought you were at a different gym training.
but we all,
I like your gym. It's right by my house.
but we kept saying, I mean, she's an athlete. It's gonna come.
yeah.
It's gonna
came
come
out.
instinctively
It came out
to
for
her,
sure.
and it did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think my biggest takeaway was just the intensity of even 1 minute at a time. 1 minute rounds. I mean, I could not catch my breath for those 3 minutes.
Right.
It's just, I mean, I applaud all of you, especially you as a Hall of Famer, but just how intense that sport is.
Yeah.
So I was so glad to try something new and to go through it.
We always love former
Not going to do it
athletes
again,
coming
but
No, we're just gonna. That was just. We did this just for that reason to ask you again.
no,
Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
definitely not.
No, it's a never.
But
I
I'll
mean,
come support the event every
We're
year.
not even filming right now. We're just
I missed my steak dinner this past year.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah.
Enjoy it.
I
Enjoy
was
your
too
steak.
nervous to eat.
Well, you did great, and you raised some good money for San Antonio sports. You represented San Antonio sports extremely well, and it was a very competitive fight. And so, all right, so now you're in the back, right? It's the day of. You're showing up. You got your nice little outfit on, and then I got to go change, and you're in the back, and they're taping you up, and the gloves are coming on, and then you're going up to the back of the curtain, back of house. And here's your music queued up. What's going through your brain as you walk down? Do you remember any of that?
Oh yeah, I remember all of it. And I had such a good support squad there that evening from San Antonio sports and all walks of my life. And so I love the way y'all do that. You let the hype squad go with the fighter back of house, backstage. And then the music, it just reminded me of like running out before a basketball game, and all of a sudden the jitters just fell. And y'all saw me, and everybody ran out that way. I mean, I was hyped. I'm running, I'm running
you
around
were,
the ring, and I'm getting
awesome.
You were targeting in the
crowd.
ring just
I'm
Yeah,
high-fiving
yeah.
everybody.
Save energy.
Yeah,
That's
I just hadn't had that feeling in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We love a former athletes coming back to
Yeah.
getting that, oh man, this is it. This is
Yeah.
our, and the whole thing is, it's not a team, it's just you, right?
Yeah, it's I was a tennis player too in college, and you're out there on your own.
Yeah.
I think the good way to finish is, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
So
Well,
that might be a good way to
You're in
finish.
that fight. You're in that fight right
You're
now.
in fight
Yeah,
mode.
yeah.
You're in that fight.
You're in fight mode.
I should have landed that.
You know what I
punch
think?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but
just so much fun.
It's a lot of fun. You're walking around high five, and then you go inside the ring. They announce your name, and you have this world class ring announcer.
Yeah.
That he does all of the fights. He's doing a lot more fights overseas, I think, right?
yeah.
But
Oh, yeah.
he's a global guy, and announces your name, and then, ding.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then it goes blank from there. You just all
Yeah.
reaction.
Your eyes and your nose get watery.
Yeah, I know what I was gonna say now. I on some days when I know I'm gonna have a really hard day in front of me, I'll pull up one of the videos from the fight. Like, come on, you can do hard things.
that's
Let's go.
You could do that. You could do that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
That's a winner right there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Jenny, thank you so much for being a part of the lounge. Thank you for coming in today, sharing some time with us. This was great. I love all the information we got today. I think our viewers are going to get a lot from this. Just
Oh, it's so
Project
much fun.
Marvel and everything.
I could sit and talk to you guys all afternoon.
Sure. We got to have you back. We got to have you back.
Maybe
on.
snacks and drinks.
Definitely.
next time,
Yeah, definitely. For
Well,
sure.
I just want to close by saying this. I mean, Jenny, you're one of the people that I truly, truly just revere here in San Antonio. You're just an amazing friend, super talented. You're a badass ambassador for what you do, just a badass person in general. And I'm proud that you're at the helm of San Antonio sports. I can't wait to see what else you're going to pull out of the box, you and your team, an amazing team that you have out there, everyone out there. So we're here to support you in any way we possibly can.
San Antonio sports is in good hands.
It is. Great hands.
Appreciate you guys.
And look at that smile.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of it. Guys, if you got a lot out of this podcast, please share, like, subscribe, leave a comment for us. There's a lot here. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.